So, welcome everyone to our third class on operation management. Now we are going to start unit 2.1, and this 2.1 unit is all about demand forecasting. So, here when it comes to demand forecasting, what matters is like first, let understand what do you mean by demand. So, possibly, I think in economics we have studied about demand and supply. Okay, and basically, demand means the desire and willingness of consumers to buy a product or service and the ability to pay for it. That is what we call as demand. Okay, so basically, when it comes to example of demand, I can give you an example in the term of product, or I can give you an example in the term of service. Okay, so if I talk about example of demand in the term of product, example can be household items like television or daily use goods. When it comes to service, I can give you an example, maybe some form of medical test which is being done on some labs, maybe hypothetically Triveni lab or Dr. Ray lab. So basic when it comes to operation management, we are talking about a process where we are trying to transpose the available inventories or raw material into finished goods, and thereby we are focusing on two parameters. Either we are working on product or we are working on services. Okay, so if I talk about forecasting of demand, because as the topic of this class is demand forecasting, so forecasting here means the predicting the future needs or happening based on the available data or information. So whatever the data we have around us, okay, now because of data analytics, we are good in collecting data. And when we are trying to collect the data, by using the data, if I can somehow predict the future expectation of the product or service, then it is called as demand forecasting. Example can be forecasting demand for products, fashion trends, or tourist arrival, or it can be predicting the patient admissions or further technology needs. Okay, so here I hope you have understood the basic term called demand. Okay, when you have understood the term demand, then we have discussed about what do you mean by forecasting. Now the question comes, why we need demand forecasting, why we need to forecast the demand. So guys, please understand that when you are working in a manufacturing or service based sector, okay, and you are clear about your product designing, you have plant layout ready to assemble the inventories to create the finished good which you can sell in the market. But imagine if you don't have an idea about the demand, okay, demand can be less, demand can be more, then ultimately that will create a mismatch between the perception or the resource requirement in the mind of consumer, or with the hand of consumer. And then if that is not sustained in time, then ultimately that will affect your customer service, because customers are looking on two parameters. They are looking for sustainability, they want quality, they want the expectation what they have that should be there in the product, then they want timely delivery, okay, and they want the costing of the product what they are trying to buy, that should be at much more an optimal level. Okay, so forecasting demand basically help organization to plan better, and demand is the starting point of any business. Without it, the company cannot exist. So when we're trying to work on accurate demand forecasting, it actually what it actually do, it help businesses so that they can plan their production and services. It help them to manage their inventories and resources. It help them to choose the right technology. It help them to arrange funds and manpower. So when it comes to plan production services, basically forecasting help the company to know how much of the product or service the customer will need. This will allow them to plan production in advance and avoid shortage or overproduction. Okay, when it comes to manage inventory and all, basically if we could able to predict the future demand, businesses can maintain the right amount of raw material, finished goods and other resources, and then this will prevent wastage and stock out. So I hope you are getting these terms. These are very basic thing. Why we need demand forecasting? Because first is to plan production and service. The next one is to manage inventories and resources. The next one can we if we can choose a right technology. So basically, knowing future demand help the company to decide what machines, tools or software they can use for the efficient and cost effective production, and it ensures that the technology investment matches with the business need. So the if I talk about the reason, if I talk about the reason why the company they need to work on demand forecasting, the first reason can be that they can plan their production service. Next reason can be they can manage the inventory and resources. Third reason can be they can, if they know the demand, like imagine there's a demand of mass production, then definitely they can engage those machines which can produce more with the lesser time. And then ultimately, if you know about demand forecasting and all, then accordingly you can work on resource utilization. Okay, that help to arrange funds and manpower. So forecasting shows how much money and how much workers will be required in the future, and this will help the management to arrange adequate finance and hire or train the right number of employees in time. So if forecasting is wrong or absent, then the company may face losses or even slow down. And this, and as you know that the market is competitive, so both effective and efficient in forecasting is key to success. Okay, so I hope you have understood why we need to forecast the demand. So Adi, why we need to forecast the demand?
Sir, first one is when we forecast demand, we will know customers' preferences, how much product or how much unit we have to produce,
Hmm,
and then what kind of technology we have to adapt in production so that
hmm,
there will be cost reduction in production process.
hmm.
And then
Then we can talk about technology. If we know about demand forecasting, we can talk about what kind of technology can we use. Like, should we engage those kind of machines which can do mass production, or should we engage in those kind of machines which will produce in much more slower? Then we can plan about inventory, and we can plan about our resources. We can plan our production service, and we even manpower, because many time no many companies don't engage in fixed cost. You understand now, costing can be a two type. It can be fixed cost, it can be variable cost. So when we are in startup mode, or we are in some kind of small and medium enterprises, where what you do, you put labor on standby mode, or you put labor on a contract basis. When you know that there's enough, too much demand is gonna happen this time, then you try to engage more labor, and then you try to arrange more funds. When you know that demand is sluggish, this time we cannot expect big big demand coming up, then we'll engage less labor in the market, and that way somehow we try to manage to reduce our cost. If our cost is reduced, the profit, if it little bit here and there also, we can manage. But if we engage too much cost in the production, then definitely that will affect your profitability and long term viability. So basically, the four reasons why we need to forecast the demand. One is the to plan production and service. Next one is to manage the inventory and service. The third one is the choosing the right technology. Fourth one is the arranging fund and manpower. Next is the source of information. Like, without the information, you cannot do forecasting, right? So what can be the source of information? Those source of information can be market report, it can be your opinion of the sales team, it can be expert opinion, industry report, point of sales data, structured customer survey, and field report. Okay, so if I talk about for demand forecasting and all, so if you want to forecast the demand, you need data, and then you have data analytics company which will do that work for you. Okay, but how will you get the data? So these are the sources which will give you the data. So you can, using these sources, ultimately you try to get the data, and that data, what we are talking about, that data mainly provide this form of data can be either structured, or it can be either unstructured data like online trend, customer review, and structured data basically like what you get from market report. Okay, so when I talk about market report, they are the documents that shows what is happening in the market, like trends, customer preferences, how well the product is selling. Companies use them to understand the overall demand situation. Then it can be Salesforce opinion. Salesforce opinion, you are getting it. Like the salespeople who are working in your company, who are the end people, who is a point of communication between your product and the consumer, and they know actually what consumer or what buyer want, and what product are popular, and what might sell more in the future. So their opinion also help you to predict the demand. Then it can be expert views. Sometimes they are market experts, industry expert, they are consultants who will share their experience and knowledge to help you to understand the demand forecasting. It can be industry report. Industry report are basically research documents that shows what is happening across the whole industry, not just one company. They include data on growth, competition, consumer behavior, which help in forecasting. Then it can be point of sales data. What do you mean by point of sale data? Point of sale data is the data which is collected the time and the place of purchase, like store checkout. It shows exactly what product are selling, when and what quantities. Okay, then you have structured customer surveys. So when you talk of structured customer survey, like these are the organized questionnaires which is given to the customer to ask their preferences, buying habit, or future plan. The result help companies to understand their potential demand. Then it can be field report. So field report come from employees or agent which are working in the field, like visiting store or client. They provide real world insight about customer behavior, stock levels, and sales data. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Hello. You are understanding this?
Yes, sir.
So what do you mean by point of sales data?
Sir, the data which we get at the time of sale.
The data what you get at the time of sale, like you remember now, if you go to any outlet of maybe cloth outlet, maybe trend or somewhere, so when we are making the payment, that time they try to collect some kind of data from us. Okay, they'll ask, sir, can you give us feedback, and can you rate us on the basis of 5, how you like the product, something. So that data what they are getting, this the account people who are trying to sell the product, that is the point of sales data. Okay. Then field report. What do you mean by field report?
Sir, when we are investigating for the first time what we get during the field or in the while working, which data which we get in form of document is called field report.
Basically, field data means more or less like you can say, uh, imagine you have a lot of you have studied in statistics now, primary data, secondary data, and all. Imagine you have sent your salespeople. Okay, those are called as enumerator, who go and ask to any random people. Imagine you are going and asking random people in the road or any public place, and if you ask their preferences, their like or dislike, their expectation on any product and all, nowadays lot of social media uh, people you are trying to engage, many companies are trying to engage, and those people randomly ask the normal locals around the city, and they ask their preferences or what they like in the product, what they don't like in the product. Then you might be having some kind of, what you say, consultant in your company who try to investigate the demand preferences about the consumers and all, how the demand preferences is shifting around. So that way, when you actually work in in the market, and from the market if you try to get the data about the changes happening in the demand of the consumer, that will give you field report and all. Maybe if you go to big outlets, maybe any outlet, if I talk about some kind of big outlet, maybe there's a big market is there, or maybe the lot of supermarket or hypermarkets are there, you might find lot of people standing there. Their work is not to sell the product, their work is to make sure that you fill some kind of, what you say, surveys for them. They'll say that, hello sir, I'm from XYZ company and we are doing a small market research. If you don't mind, can you fill this questionnaires and all? That will definitely help me. If you don't mind, if you do this, something they like do. And you might find the same people in the within the store or outside the store, or any random places where any random questions can be asked to you. So that can be the way, that is called field report. Structured customer surveys, basically when you are at the point of sale, when you are actually at the outlet of payment and you are making payment, and there if you get some kind of what you say, questionnaires to fill, okay, that, or maybe post sales, if you are getting some kind of email where trying to fill some kind of answers of certain questions, there you might find structured customer survey. Okay, market report you have understood only. Market report, how market report is different? What is basically market report? What is industry report? Field report, all that. So market report is just like like, lot of magazines coming, and a business today or something, or in newspaper and all. There nobody is writing about your product. Nobody is talking about how your product is selling in the market. They are talking generally what is happening in the market. And if so, there you will find lot of data about what is happening in the society, like the trends, customer preferences, how well the products are selling. And so basically that is holistic data. By reading those data, company try to understand what is the overall demand situation. Market report never talk about any company specific report or any particular company performance and all. They just simply talking about around what is happening in the society, and how the changes, customer preferences and other things are changing around us. I hope you are understanding how these things are different from each other.
Yes, sir.
And so, however, all these above sources provide mostly structured data and information, but with the development and information and communication technology, today forecasting is significantly controlled by unstructured and semi-structured high volume data in the term of quantified data, video, audio, image, multimedia messages, social media post, and so that is somehow, like, we have discussed all the examples of structured data, but as per this author of this book, they believe that more than structured data, market is more backed by unstructured data, which is actually giving you more quantified output. And like you are in the world of reels and all. And if anyone, any social media influencer, if they simply use our product in the reel, and if that suddenly, if that reel become famous, automatically our product will become famous. So there, all your research, demand forecasting, all that mathematical calculation, data analytics will nowhere would be justified, just because of some uh, unlogical or unstructured reason. Suddenly your demand can go up, shoot up, or it can fall down. All research will gone. If you remember this one instance of Cristiano Ronaldo, he was sitting in one meeting or conference, and and press conference was happening, and what he did, he simply removed the Coke bottle in front of him, and because of that reason, Coke sales fell down very significantly. Maybe there's a lot of research people who are sitting around the world trying to predict the demand of the Coke product in the market, which Coke people like more than the other, and a lot of research is happening maybe by those people. But suddenly, by just one behavior of one personality who's a global icon, their sale fell like significantly like anything. There no structured research ultimately could save them from that kind of instance. I hope you are getting it. So basically, when we are talking about demand forecasting, we have understood what is demand. Demand is nothing but it is the desire and willingness of the consumer to buy the product or services. And then when we understood what is demand, we have discussed about demand forecasting, why we need to forecast demand, either to plan production and service, either to manage inventory and resources, either to work on right technology, arranging fund and manpower. We have discussed about structured and unstructured data of working on demand. Now talking about forecasting. Forecasting can be done on different time period. It can be short term, it can be medium term, or the forecasting can be long term. Okay, so when we are talking about forecasting, forecasting can be short term forecasting, it can be medium term forecasting, it can be long term forecasting. So talking about short term forecasting, it is done for maybe for few week, maybe for 6 to 8 month. Example can be of the product with a shorter life cycle, like smartphone. Okay, so basically if you are analyzing the demand for smartphone and all, if you are trying to forecast the demand for the smartphone, that will come under as an example of short term forecasting, because that will help in production planning, because that require high accuracy. You know that nowadays the product life is very less. Okay, and if you are coming with the smartphone, maybe iPhone 17 has came up, it's not like after till 1 year people will only talk about 17, and maybe for few after few months people will forget what is iPhone 17. So what matters for the company is to get an accurate data of the demand of the particular product what they want to come up with the market, so that they can satisfy the need of the current people who are actually is ready to buy the product. But maybe after few months that scenario might be the same. So the purpose for working on short term forecasting, it can be to estimate the inventory requirement. I hope you understand. To provide transport facilities for the dispatch of finished good, to decide workload management, to find the working capital required, to set up the production run, to fix sales quota, to find the required overtime to meet the delivery promises. So these all terms are self-explanatory. So basically, when we talk about short term forecasting, if I talk about estimating inventory requirement, I think you all are understanding. It help to find how much raw material or stock is needed, so that the production continues smoothly and without any problem, and so that without any negligence or without any extra time, the product should reach the end consumer. Talking about once you have your end product ready to reach the end consumer, you know that timing matters a lot for the customer service. To make sure that the finished good reach the end consumer on the time, you need an appropriate transportation mechanism. And then to manage that workload, you need to decide, you need to plan. Okay, and for planning, you need capital. Capital here would be in the form of working capital. And a working capital, you understand, net working capital, gross working capital. To work on the short term demand forecasting, you need fund for day to day operations like buying material, paying wages, covering other short term expenses. You need working capital, and demand forecasting ultimately help you to even plan your finance. Even it help you to plan your production run, to decide when and how much of each product should be produced in what batches, so that you can even, once after the production and transportation decided, you can work on the sales target for your sales people, so that they get the product and they try to sell the product with the defined time. And if it require, if any extra working hours require for the production, so that if there's increase in delivery or there's increase of demand, that also can be sustained. For doing all that, you need to work on short term demand forecasting, because there are some product like smartphones and all, you cannot expect a more bigger life or higher life for them. Getting it, guys? Hello, Adi, Gagna, have you understood?
Yes, sir.
You know, short term forecasting, can you explain what you have understood? What you understood from short term forecasting?
So, short-term forecasting, it may be for few months, like 3 to 6 months.
Correct, correct. So why we need to work on short term forecasting? If it for few months, let ignore it, no, leave it. So basically, short-term forecasting, we are targeting some on selling some kind of products which have very shorter lifespan. Maybe the example can be smartphone. And if you do not do your proper due diligence in estimating the demand and all, then you could not satisfy the requirement or the satisfaction of the consumer who might be expecting your product, and they expect that the particular product what they definitely want, they want that particular product to reach with them in the definite time. Okay, and to satisfy their needs, you have to make sure that you have a proper idea about the requirement what is there in the market. Then only you can plan your inventory. Then only you'll plan your indirect cost expenses in the form of transportation and all. Then only you can plan the workload management of your workforce, either men or machines, who will ultimately engage themselves so that the end consumer get the product on time. Then only you would plan for the working capital, what would require to make sure that you get the production. In order to work on the production, you need capital, and then only you can plan your machines. Okay, you can plan your workforce. Okay, and then when the end product is ready and transported to the outlets where the product would be sold, then you can plan the sales quota for your sales team, so that they can have a target, and in order to achieve their target, they will ultimately bring revenue for the company. So I hope you have understood what is short term forecasting.
Sir, what is sales quota? Is it like minimum sales?
Yeah, yeah, because sales people are there, no, like Chroma and like other outlets are there. Imagine when the iPhone 17 came. So their target were given to them, every sale, because iPhone 17 you will not buy after 1 year. You will buy iPhone 17 maybe within next 4 or 5 months and all. You are getting me right. After that, people will talk about iPhone 18, or they people will talk about some other handsets or some other company. So when the product is ready, and like the end product is ready to sell in the market, then to push the sales so that the sales can be increased, so that you can bring optimization. And because what is the end motive? End motive is to generate maximum revenue within this given time from this product. And for doing that, you need to we have a capable sales team. That sales team, if you will give them appropriate targets, if you push them, if you pressure them, then only they will bring more sales. More sales means more products sold in the market. More products sold in the market means your finished good is done. If imagine if your final phones are lying in the chroma outlets and all, and hardly people are coming and buying. If people are coming and buying also, you are showing them Motorola, you are showing them some Google Pixel phone instead of showing iPhone and all. Because iPhone life is gone after 6 months, 7 months. Nobody will talk. If somebody you will get, hardly people will get. I hope you are getting it.
Yes, sir.
Medium range forecasting basically that engage a time period of about 1 to 2 years, where examples you can talk about maybe consumer durable goods like washing machine, refrigerators or medicines, where the purpose of working on medium range forecasting, it can be controlling budget and expenses, deciding the dividend policies, managing and controlling maintenance expenses, plan schedules of operations, and adjusting production capacity if required. So when we are talking about medium run forecasting, here you can think about some kind of products which are basically consumer durables. Consumer durables like medicines, it can be refrigerator, machines, and other things. And their need basically it help you to control your budget and expenses so that you can plan and monitor how much money is being spent, ensuring that the company stays within the budget, deciding dividend policies, which basically help how much profit should be shared within the shareholders and how much should be kept for the future growth, and managing and controlling maintenance expenses, so that planning and keeping track of cost of repairing and maintenance machine equipment and facilities to be worked on. And then it can be worked with the plan schedules of operations, so that the company can organize when different production activities should take place, so that everything runs smoothly on and on time, and to adjust production capacity if required. So this help to increase or decrease the production level depending on the market demand or company goals. So this is basically we are talking about medium term, medium range production. Then if I talk about long range, long run forecasting, it basically done for some kind of product like atta or something, where the time period covers around 5 years, though in some cases it may extend to 10 to 15 years, where the main aim of long run forecasting is to plan for the future needs of business, and its purpose includes estimating capital expenditure, estimating future cash flows, planning manpower need, planning material requirement, planning research and development activities. Okay, the research and development, basically you are focusing on long term growth and innovations. Planning material management means you are trying to ensure that the raw material or supplies are always available. And whenever you talk about long term forecasting in finance, you have studied about capital budgeting and all. So in order to work on long term forecasting, you need to incur capital expenditure, those capital expenditure which has the potential to generate revenue in the long run, so that you can estimate your future cash flows, so that you can calculate your NPV, IIR, and that way your business will become much more sustainable in the market. You are getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
So, this steps in forecasting and all, I'll start from tomorrow. Actually, today I have to quickly run for my office. So I'm ending the class now. Tomorrow I'll start from steps in forecasting. Is that be fine, girls?
Okay, sir. Sir, can you share yesterday's and today's
Okay,
session?
sir.
Yeah, yeah, I'll share in the group.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you, girls. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
हाँ.
Thank you, sir.